and it's very exciting. You know, it's the great accomplishment out of Project Reach to see these videos and be able to just see the, you know, the work that you've put into over 10 weeks to this video, and see that it's actually doable and very powerful tools in health communication. And then throughout the 10 weeks, it's, you know, again, fostering that interprofessional collaboration and the way we work with each other. You know, how do we communicate with each other? How do we listen? How do we check ourselves about some of the, you know, maybe perceptions we might hold about other fields and others, and how that is tainting the way we are working with other individuals. And very quickly, I'll note the process, the approach that we take for all the sessions and for the fellowship as a whole. We like to think about it as this a process consisting of these 6 C's, you know, always going through this process of communication, connection, collaboration, challenging ourselves. As a result of those, you know, challenges, we come up with creative solutions. And so we're constantly changing and improving, and we're starting that process all over again. And actually, you know, being open to this process and not being intimidated by it, and valuing the products that come out of it. Let me move on. There we go. Yep. Okay. So who should apply to Project Reach? For CBO applicants, multiple applicants from the same CBO may apply. We welcome up to 3 applicants from the same organization to apply. At least 1 applicant must be a full-time employee of the CBO. And the additional applicants may include either part-time employees or volunteers. And then, as I already mentioned, participating CBOs must serve Upper Manhattan or the Bronx communities. You don't have to be physically located in these areas, but you must be serving. In other words, community residents from these areas should be eligible to make use of the services of the organization. Now, for students, current graduate students from Columbia, City College, or Lehman, in good academic standing and currently matriculated. We also invite master level graduates from these universities who graduated in 2020 or in 2021 are welcome to apply. So how is Project Reach carried out? The schedule, it's May 14th through July 23rd, a total of 10 weeks. We're skipping July 2nd for the holiday weekend. And the sessions, the virtual sessions take place, so these are Fridays from 9 a.m. through 11 a.m. through Zoom. Moving over to format. So although it's 10 sessions, 9 of those sessions will be virtual, and the 10th session that happens right around sort of the middle point, halfway point of the training, you'll be doing your community dialogue sessions. So that makes up the 10 sessions. Every 2-hour session is a mix of lecture and collaborative exercises with your group, but also with the entire cohort. And there will always be dedicated time to work on assignments with your partners. And these assignments will help you actually complete the deliverables, which are a flyer, social media strategy, and the video. I do want to note that in addition to the 2-hour virtual sessions, you should expect to put in about 2 to 5 hours outside of class. In particular with the video can take longer. And as I mentioned, in terms of the partners, everyone's called the fellow. All fellows will be placed in groups consisting of a mix of community and student partnerships. We don't divide the community applicants, so if there's multiple applicants from the organization, you stay together. And as I mentioned, you stay in these partnerships for the duration of the training. And group assignments are based on the overlapping interests between the CBO and the students. So application period starts today. Sophie gave me the great news that we already have a handful of applications, so that's very exciting. So get your application in before the deadline of March 22nd. I just quickly want to mention that although the application is very straightforward, just be prepared to upload your resume and your unofficial transcript. So hopefully there's also an opportunity, to get you to update the resume. I know that I'm not on top of it unless, I'm triggered by something. So hopefully this is also fruitful to update your resume. For students, after March 22nd, we'll be scheduling interviews by Zoom. And we just wanted to mention that Project Reach does not meet the requirement for a summer practicum opportunity. However, you may use your experience to inform your capstone or your thesis projects. For the community, allot enough time to have your executive director sign off on a letter of support. We actually have a link to a letter of support template, so you do not have to reinvent the wheel. Just go onto the website, to the application website. You'll see the link where you can download the template, and it's just a matter of putting in the name of your organization and the names of the applicants, and have your executive director sign it, and you can upload it with your application, and it's one application per CBO. And also, I do want to mention that the fellowship is an unpaid opportunity, and it does not lead to course credit or continuing education credits. I imagine that you might be able to apply separately to your continuing education group and have, and we could provide you the materials for you to be able to process that separately. Okay, so with that, I'm going to stop sharing. What we want to also give you is a sample of the videos that came out of our last Project Reach cohort. And so I think, Sophie, maybe in the interest of time, we just show one video and then we open it up for questions before going on to the fellows.
Yeah, that sounds great. So do you want to do Word Up or El Nido?
Let's do Word Up. So I should have stopped sharing. Is that right?
Yes. Can you see my screen?
Almost. It's, at least on my end, it's loading.
I would encourage people to come to Word Up because we don't have a lot of spaces like this in our neighborhood, especially uptown New York City. We know of a lot of big bookstores, but little independent bookstores that have affordable books are hard to come by. So for that reason alone, we have dollar books, 50-cent books, $3 books, $5. Because they're donated, we can sell them at a pretty affordable price.
I grew up on this block. So when Word Up moved here, I was ecstatic because growing up in this neighborhood, we never had a bookstore.
We have beautiful art on the walls. We have a ton of amazing books. And we have other events like an open mic night, comedy night. We have the space open for meetings. And so even if you just need a place to spend time with people, to meet, or to get exposed to different kinds of arts, this is the place to do it.
My favorite part about volunteering at Word Up has been getting to know the volunteers. That's what keeps me coming back. It's a really interesting group of people. People have just really lived really interesting lives, and it's great to talk to them about all of that.
Everything, I mean, that they have here. Lectures, panel discussions, and whatnot. This summer they did an Uptown Kidnets Festival, which was in the park in Indian Roll Cafe.
There was an outdoor event. It was for kids. We were giving away books. We were, there was like face painting, and we were just giving away all of these free tote bags. And it was just great to see people walking around the park kind of with their Word Up tote bags, like this place that I love so much in my neighborhood.
I would also encourage people to come in just to get to know our neighbors. You know, in New York, it can be sort of intimidating to meet new people. And one of the beautiful things about the bookshop is you can come in and just strike up a conversation either with us as the volunteers or with whatever other people are browsing the bookshelves, which is really nice to do too.
Great. Thanks, Sophie. So this is one example of 4 videos created by our last cohort. Sophie will, after the session, circulate the link to the application and also the link to YouTube where you can view the rest of the videos. They're all very good, and they all captured the soul of the different organizations beautifully. You'll see a range of organizations featured. In addition to Word Up, we had Art Fort Washington participate, which is a senior center. They have 3 senior centers spread out through Harlem and Washington Heights. We also had El Nido de Esperanza, who provides services to parents of infants and toddlers, as well as the Mexican Coalition that works with Latino immigrants. So a range of organizations and communities served, and it's just nice to see the breadth of the videos that come out of this project. So I'll now open it up to any questions. Is it 1 letter of support for all 3 applicants? That's yes. It's 1 letter of support per CBO. When you open up the template, you'll see that there's a section to write in the names of the applicants, and it's up to 3 applicants.
If you are the executive director, should you still submit the letter of support from yourself?
Yes. So the letter of support not only includes supportive language, establishing or committing the organization, to provide, the support and the dedicated time that CBO staff who are participating in the program need to attend the sessions, but also to complete the assignments and the deliverables. It also includes additional language on permissions and agreements, for example, that you allow us to use the video, just like we saw for Word Up, for promotional purposes. So even if you are the ED, if you would just write your name in, we'll figure out that you're one and the same, and just sign it and include it with your application. Yes. Can we submit a volunteer whose identity is just to be determined? Absolutely. Just put volunteer, TBD. Our organization is not health focused. What impact will that have during the application process and during the program? Okay. It won't is a short answer. So we view health very holistically. And so, pretty much there's what doesn't impact health, right? And so go ahead and apply. How many people will you be accepting? We don't have an answer for that. Last time we kept it to about 15 participants. Roughly half were students and the other half were CBO representatives. We would probably stay in that range. But I want to see the demand and interest in this program before, setting a limit. It depends on the pool of applicants and whether student interest overlap with the organizations. Often it happens once you've looked at the material or once you've sort of stepped back At least it happens to me. I come up with other questions. Feel free to shoot me an email with your questions. I'm also happy to get on the phone and have a conversation if there are, any concerns around participation. Let's touch base.